Hello everyone, welcome back. So before we get into today's video, a quick teaser for the next one, and that's going to be my next episode of Frag Chat with Smurfy and Smelly, with Claire from the Smurfy Girly channel, and we're going to be talking about our fragrances that we're taking away on our summer holiday. We're having a quick summer break soon, so that should be a fun one. Summer holidays have kind of mixed memories for me. I remember my ex-wife once said to me, "Darling, sex is always so much better on holiday," which was nice, but it wasn't really what I wanted to read in a postcard. Okay, hello everyone, welcome back. So today's video is my top 5 fragrances that I want but don't yet own a bottle of, and very appropriately it's sponsored by Fragrance Samples UK. I've done some sponsored videos with them before and I'm glad that I'm working with them again. So a great fragrance sampling company based in the UK, but they do ship all around the world. There are some slightly different terms of how you order the fragrances if you're outside the UK. That's all detailed in the description below. And they've also given me a code, SMELLY10, there it is, and that gives you 10% off if you use that code. So if you do order from them, please use that code and get yourself an extra 10% off their already very reasonable prices. If you click the link at the top of the description to this video, it will take you directly to their website, and that will automatically apply the 10% discount to anything you buy. If you access this site any other way, you can just type in the code SMELLY10 and that will still work. If you're not in the UK, you just need to mention the code SMELLY10 in your email, and again, they will apply it for you. So they do fragrance samples of niche fragrances, very high-end niche stuff. The usual expected stuff like Creed and AMOUAGE is all there, and they do designer fragrance samples too, including some discontinued rare fragrances. So really great variety of stuff, and sizes usually from 1ml right up to 50ml are available from them, and I just find that they're really nicely packaged whenever he sent me stuff. It's Greg from the Greggy Boy 76 channel, a really well-respected YouTube reviewer and a friend of mine, so someone I really have a lot of time for. They come really nicely packaged, and the samples themselves here we have very neatly labelled smaller size samples that I've got for this video. So highly recommended by me, very trustworthy, fast service, lovely packaging. So let's get into the video. So of course I've picked out 5 fragrances that I've been wanting to get, some of which I've tried before and some not. And these are my top 5 on my wish list, my fragrance lust list if you like. So let's get stuck into it. So which order I've got, I've pre-sprayed them on some paper strips. And I've been smelling them a little bit over the last 2 days. Maybe I'll try and pick out the 1 or 2 that I think I actually may pull the trigger on. So let's go first with AMOUAGE Sunshine Man. Picture of the bottle appearing on the screen now. So this one was a 2015 release, and it's a really interesting one from the house of AMOUAGE. It's called Sunshine Man, but it's not just really a citrusy, fresh, summery smelling fragrance. It's a little bit, the name is a little bit misleading. The notes on this one are lavender, orange brandy, immortelle, bergamot, juniper berry, cedar, tonka, and vanilla. Now I've pre-sprayed them on some paper strips. I find this one really fascinating and really, really beautiful. I think it's a bit of a lavender bomb. You can really, really smell the very natural smelling lavender smell, just like you're smelling a bag of lavender. So if you're not into that note, this might be a little bit of off-putting thing. There's a sort of sweetness. Orange brandy suggests booziness. I don't really get a boozy element, but immortelle as well, I think, has a sweetness about it. And there is a lot of freshness, but also a lot of depth with this fragrance. Beautiful, lovely lavender, so it almost has a little hint of that barbershop thing that I'm known to like, but it's definitely not a traditional barbershop fragrance. There's a hint of the exotic, maybe with the immortelle, and that you would expect from an AMOUAGE fragrance, but very different to some of their heavier, more pungent stuff with incense or oud in it. So it's kind of fresh, but in a different way to a citrus fresh fragrance. Tons of lavender, juniper, cedar, tonka and vanilla. Certainly there's a sweetness underpinning this one, but it's sort of like a futuristic, new, modern take on a barbershop type scent maybe. A beautiful, beautiful fragrance, really great performance. Quite different and unusual, and not going to be to everybody's taste, but I've always found, because I've had a little sample before, that I really like that one. So Sunshine Man from AMOUAGE could be my first actual bottle of AMOUAGE. I've just got decants of a few things like Interlude Man, but no full bottle so far. Next up then, it's going to be a Creed. Of course, I'm quite a fan of Creed, and I've always been wanting or thinking that I might need to get Creed's EROLFA. So I've got my little sample here. Whoops. and it is a really great fresh fragrance. It's got that Creed DNA definitely in this one. It's very, very fresh. I think the ambergris note is the thing that many people say really stands out in this one. It's almost like ambergris has been elevated a little bit up from just being a supporting player to a really main player in this one. A really fresh, salty sea air kind of accord runs right throughout this fragrance. Some of the notes include bergamot, lemon, orange, the usual kind of citrusy stuff. There's violet in there, basil, rosemary, so some herbaceous aromatic notes, sandalwood, pepper, cedar, all kinds of different notes. The overall feel, however, is of a very citrusy, fresh cologne with a very strong Creed ambergris DNA, a little bit similar in the mood that you would reach for it in to things like Millesime Imperial, but less of that watermelon type note that you get in that one, a little bit less sweet to me and a bit more of a traditional citrus cologne vibe than Millesime Imperial. It's from 1992, a little bit similar maybe to Creed's Neroli Sauvage, but I think it has more of this ambergris, salty sea air aquatic thing. Really, really absolutely lovely. I know Greg from the Greggy Boy 76 channel, the man behind Fragrance Samples UK, really likes this one. Another great one. The only question is, do I need another fresh citrusy fragrance? Probably not, but that one is exquisite from Creed. Something completely different now, and this is where Fragrance Samples UK do have some good ones that you won't find very easily, and this is a discontinued fragrance from 1990, Balenciaga Pour Homme. So Balenciaga Pour Homme was released at the very beginning of the 90s, but really looks back more to the 80s in its smell. I think I would class it as an aromatic fougere, but it has rather more spiciness than the average fougere. It's also often compared to things like Lapidus Pour Homme and Coros from Yves Saint Laurent. Got it on the strip here. Very pungent, masculine smell. It's a little bit sweet and spicy also. Some of the notes listed include cinnamon, bergamot, coriander. There's thyme, patchouli, sandalwood, vanilla, benzoin. It even has the note of oud listed, and I believe it may have been the first men's designer fragrance to feature the note of oud, although I don't think you'll really pick up on it in the smell. It's very spicy, rich, masculine, deep. It does have a muskiness, maybe a hint that there could be civet and or castoreum or those kind of animalic notes in there. So a little bit funky, not going to be to everyone's taste, but nice and spicy and woody. And Claire from the Smurfy Girly channel picked up that it does have a quite prominent sandalwood note, and it reminded her somewhat of Chanel's Egoist, and I get that too. Once she said that, I thought, yes, it does. So a really classy fragrance, some masculine butch elements to it, classy, nice sandalwood notes, spicy, a little bit animalic, very, very interesting, pungent, also piney and mossy in the typical fougere style. So a powerhouse, not going to be for everyone. Not sure I'm rushing out to buy a full bottle, but I might if I see one for a good price. It's really interesting for fans of retro scents. Next up then, a real different type of fragrance is going to be CASAMORATI's LIRA. That's a XERJOFF fragrance from their CASAMORATI line of fragrances. Now, the reason this one intrigued me is because people often say that Laurent de Mont's Tonder Madeleine smells very alike to this one, and they're both very sweet, gourmand type fragrances with a mixture of lovely vanilla notes with a certain citrusy orange twist. Of course, Tender Madeleine is meant to represent the smell of a madeleine cake, the French bun that is vanillic and somewhat citrusy with maybe a twist of bitter almond or those kind of notes in it. LIRA itself has listed notes including bergamot, blood orange, lavender, jasmine, cinnamon, licorice, musk, vanilla, caramel. So it's very sweet. It's maybe a little bit powdery, but mostly you're going to get a very, very pleasant gourmand vanilla, but it's lightened by the addition of these citrus notes, the blood orange, that little twist of the freshness and maybe the bitterness of an orange, which I find really nice. So I really, really enjoyed wearing this the other day. Very, very exquisite smell. The only thing is I can't actually say that I find it massively different or better than Tonder Madeleine from Laurent de Mont's, which you can get a lot cheaper, although I think that's getting a little hard to find. So maybe I might want to pick this up if I see it for a great price, but it's not jumping to the top of my list of these five because I believe I already have Tonder Madeleine and I'm not sensing a huge difference. Both perform quite well, both exquisite scents, but the XERJOFF, of course, much more expensive. So it's been great to sample it rather than rush out and blind buy it, and of course that's why sampling things is a good idea. Next up, the fifth and final one on my list is Clive Christian 1872 for men. Very, very expensive fragrances. Some of them have a really great reputation, and I have tried this one a couple of times in Harrods in the UK. So this is a classy, citrusy, old school kind of cologne, I think, really. Some of the notes that you're going to find in this one, in fact, I'll list all of them: mandarin, pepper, petitgrain, clary sage, sandalwood, and it's also described as having some herbal and citrusy elements in other websites. So citrus with herbal nuances, a classic citrus gentlemanly cologne type smell, which of course is the kind of thing I like. And I really do enjoy the opening on this one. It's very nice, natural smelling bergamot, really beautiful bergamot with citrus and some aromatics. Very, very pleasant, but considering that there are so many great options in this field, both from designer fragrance houses, you know, even Chanel's, Pour Monsieur, and of course from less expensive niche houses, Acqua di Parma, all the different colognias. I really like this one, but not enough to spend 2 or 3 times more than the money for I can get other great citrus type colognes for at this point in time. So really liked it. Grateful to have the chance to try it a little bit more and wear it on skin. Very, very pleasant, but for me, not quite one that I'm rushing out to buy at that high price. So let me know what you thought of my 5 choices. Which one or 2 would you pick if you could only have 1 or 2 to own? For me, my 2 favourites, I think that I'm still really enthused about, although I enjoyed all of them and I might pick any one up at some point. But I really love Sunshine Man from AMOUAGE and Creed's EROLFA. So one of those 2 I would love to get at some point in the next few months, maybe both if I can afford it. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought of my picks, and I'll see you in the next one. As ever, remember, whatever we're doing in life, let's project. Bye bye.